This is the mysterious disappearance of Brian Shaffer. If you want to know more about this case and the circumstances surrounding his disappearance, please continue watching.
You are watching Roll a Mile in My Shoes TV.
Some people say that the disappearance of Brian Shaffer would have been seen as the ultimate April Fool's Day prank only if it had a punchline. But early on the morning of April 1st, 2006, Brian Shaffer and his friend William Clint Florence were wrapping up a night of celebration commemorating their completed final exams and the start of spring break at the Ohio State University College of Medicine. They had begun the night at the Ugly Tuna Saloon and they were ending it in the same place. They had gotten a ride back from Florence's friend, Meredith Reed. While they were enjoying a final round to close out the evening, Brian Shaffer somehow became separated from his friends. When the bar closed down at 2 a.m., Florence and Reed waited for him outside, but he never showed up. They assumed that he simply had gone home without telling them. The following Monday morning, when he failed to arrive for a flight that he and his girlfriend had planned to take to Miami, where she thought he might propose, it was only then that Brian Shaffer was declared missing. Honestly, it really confuses me how they waited until like Monday morning to report him missing, because I feel like if my friend had gotten separated from us and we came to the bar together and we didn't leave together and they didn't come home a few hours later, I'm calling somebody, the police or detectives or somebody, saying, hey, my friend and I, we went to the bar together. This is the bar we went to. We had agreed to leave together as we always did, or X, Y, and Z. Can somebody please go out and look for them? I would not wait for the next Monday morning to call the police. I'm calling the police, as soon as possible, even though the police will probably tell you, depending on the age of the person that disappeared, you can't file a report until 24 hours after they've been missing. But I'm calling somebody hours after, especially if they don't show up or let me know that, they're somewhere safe. I'm calling somebody because we're not waiting until a day or two later to report them missing. That's not going to happen. Police began their search at the last place that Brian was known to be seen, which was the Ugly Tuna Saloon. What they found there was the beginning of a perplexing mystery because the bar was located in what was considered to be a high crime area, and the bar had been outfitted with a number of security cameras. And the one camera that monitored the escalator that led to the entrance of the bar. On the security camera footage, Shaffer was last seen standing outside the bar shortly before 2 a.m., talking to a pair of women. Then the camera shows him walking toward the bar's entrance. He has not been seen or heard from since. Now, my question about him being seen walking towards the bar, what happened after he was seen walking towards the bar? Is there any footage of him entering the bar or walking towards the bar but going in a different direction. What happened after he was seen walking towards the bar? I have to wonder, was he seen talking to someone else? Did he leave with the person that he was seen talking to? Did he walk on the side of the building because there was said to have been a construction site there? And it was also said that this construction site was tough to maneuver during the day, even if you were sober, let alone at night after having a couple of drinks. Now, as I've stated before, the bar was had a construction site out back behind the bar, and people believe that Brian Shaffer might have become victim to that construction site, falling into the rubble of the construction site, and the owners covered it up because they didn't want any problems and were afraid that it would, make them lose business if that was known to have happened to him. And it is also stated that the bar had no other publicly accessible entrance or exit, and the only other way out was a service door out back that led to that actual construction site. Police searched through the security camera footage at other nearby businesses to try to determine if and how Schaefer left the ugly tuna, but they saw no sign of him. And that leads me to ask the question, like, they said the only sighting they had of him was him walking towards the bar. So I wonder, did he go into the bar, and why there was no sign of him leaving the bar? After police searched the ugly tuna, they decided to fan out their search from that place, and police investigated far and wide, even including the city's dumpsters and sewer systems in their search. But not even a K9 unit could find a trace of Schaefer. Schaefer's abandoned apartment was later burglarized, and police and his family were hoping the crime might have something to do with his disappearance, but it didn't. Recently widowed and desperate to find his son, Schaefer's father consulted a psychic. He was told that Brian's body was resting in water near a bridge. He spent hours waiting in the Olenchi River in Columbus with a search party to no avail. I know many people believe in psychics, and many people have used psychics to, gain clues to try to help solve the case of a missing or murdered loved one, or just a person overall. But I feel like a lot of times, if these psychics, aren't real, they are playing on the hopes of people finding their loved ones. And I feel like, that should be a crime in and of itself, because that could steer the investigation in a way that it should not go, and it could also hinder the investigation. And I feel like that should be a crime, because this man, spent money, probably more than, thousands of dollars, to try to help gain some insight into where his son might be dead or alive, and he was not able to find anything. For months after his disappearance, Schaefer's girlfriend, Alexis Wagner, called his phone every night, though it went straight to voicemail. However, one night in September, she was thrilled to hear the phone ring. At the other end of the line, it rang 3 times. In her excitement, she called again. There was no answer, but a ping from a cell phone tower later traced the call to Hillard, about 14 miles from Columbus, where Schaefer disappeared. Schaefer's cellular carrier admitted later that the ringing and the tower ping could have been a glitch in the system rather than a sign that Schaefer had turned his cell phone back on. But I wonder how that could be a glitch because I've never heard of that being a glitch. I've heard of, people dialing one number and it ringing to somebody else's phone totally different, because I've had that happen to me where somebody called my phone but it went straight to another person's phone. Luckily, the person whose phone it went to knew of me and I knew of them. So, even though it was a mistake and it was irritating, it was not necessarily a problem. Almost everyone involved in Brian Shaffer's life or who had been with him on the night of his disappearance agreed to take a polygraph test, except for Clint Florence. According to Florence's attorney, his client had nothing to hide and simply felt that he had told police all he could about the subject. The two women who Shaffer was last seen with were identified by police and cleared of any suspicions. They also stated that they were not asked to take a polygraph test. Now, this makes me wonder, if this was really his friend, why would he not want to, number one, take a polygraph test to prove his innocence? Number two, why would he lawyer up after talking to the police? That, gives me suspicious vibes. For years, the search for information about Brian Shaffer's fate continued. Posters of Shaffer were plastered everywhere, noting that the missing man had a distinctive tattoo and a black fleck on his left iris. Rewards were offered, tip lines were set up, and Eddie Vedder, the lead singer of Pearl Jam, one of Shaffer's favorite bands, even took a break between songs during a concert in Connecticut asking for any information about Shaffer's disappearance. Brian's father, Randy Shaffer, joined the families of other missing persons to successfully lobby the Ohio legislature to reform the state's laws regarding missing persons cases. Now, Ohio has a more organized protocol for investigating missing persons cases, a small relief for Shaffer's loved ones. In 2008, Randy Shaffer, Brian Shaffer's father, was struck by a branch while cleaning up debris from a windstorm in his backyard and died. In an online condolence book, someone wrote, "To Dad, love Brian, U.S. Virgin Islands," leading many to believe that Brian was alive and well. However, the police later concluded that the note was posted from a publicly accessible computer in Franklin County, Ohio, and it was determined to be a hoax. With no solid theories about what happened to Shaffer, Columbus police continued to follow up on even the most far-fetched leads, from alleged sightings in Sweden to a phone call from a woman at a Michigan restaurant who believed that Shaffer was her waiter. There have even been anonymous tips on that claim to know the location of the body, but investigators look into the claims that have been proven to be fruitless. Although he has not been found dead or alive, Brian Shaffer is suspected to have been the victim of the smiley face serial killer, even though no remains of his has been found. And many people still believe that he may have fallen victim to the construction site outside of the Ugly Tuna Saloon. And as I stated before, the owners covered it up because it would have been seen as being bad for business at the time. But hopefully someday, somehow, Brian Shaffer will be found and be able to be laid to rest, along with his mother and father. But if you like this video, please don't forget to leave me a like. Don't forget to share this video. And please don't forget, if you are not already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.